Several years ago, I bought a lovely house up in the mountains of Colorado on 45 acres. The views, oh, I wish you could see them, they're spectacular. The wildlife, well, we have elk, we have deer, bear, mountain lions, eagles, hawks, wild turkeys, bobcats, and we have rattlesnakes. I hate rattlesnakes. Let me tell you something about rattlesnakes. They have two purposes in life, and that's it. One, to kill and bite something, or bite and kill. And the second one is to make baby rattlesnakes. Now, in my years in the mountains, I have had numerous contact with rattlesnakes. And with one exception where the rattlesnake actually got me, they usually don't end very well for the rattlesnake. So much so that if you were to walk into any rattlesnake post office in the United States, there on the wall, on the posters, is my lovely picture. All right, so one time, early on when I first got up here, I met this rattlesnake face to face in the middle of the front yard. I ran to the garage and picked up my weapon of choice, the hoe. So, actually, before I go any further, let me tell you something else about rattlesnakes. When they're coiled and ready to strike, they can lunge out 1/2 to 2/3 of their distance of their body. So I took my hoe and I proceeded out of the garage to do battle. And I looked at the snake and realized he was 6 feet long. I looked at the hoe. I looked at the snake. I looked at the hoe. I looked at the snake. And I said, excuse me a second, and I backed away, back to the garage looking for something longer. Not able to find anything, I decided I'd get my shotgun. Now listen, this is not Crocodile Dundee here, okay? Anytime I meet a rattlesnake, knees are knocking, hands are shaking. So it took me a while to load this shotgun. There were more shotgun shells on the floor than there were in the chamber because I was having trouble getting them into the chamber. But eventually I got the gun loaded, stuck it into my shoulder, and walked out to kill the rattlesnake. And I walked over, and I got far enough away so that I wasn't able to be bitten, but at the same time, I aimed, and click. Excuse me a second again. I back away, and I realized, told you no Crocodile Dundee here, that I had left the safety on the shotgun. So I turned the safety off, went back over to the snake, and this time I just, bam, blew its head off completely. My manly task having been done, I walked back in the house. Let me rephrase that. My manly task having been done, I almost crawled back in the house and lay down on the couch because I was just jello, with knees knocking. 25 minutes later, I decided I'd go out and see exactly what happened. And I picked up the snake with a long pole and I draped it over a branch. Now, I just can't remember why, but I called my next door neighbor who's lived up there for quite a while, and he asked me if the snake was dead. I said, oh yeah, it's got its head blown off 30 minutes ago. And he said, well then walk over to it and put your hand up. So being the city slicker and the fool, I went over and I put my hand up. And here, this dead snake suddenly lashed out of my hand. You could hear my girlish screams all over the Colorado Front Range. And my knees didn't stop knocking for about 3 months. But what I found interesting about this is that here this animal with the reptilian brain is so laser focused on its purpose in life, which is to bite something and kill it, that even without its head, it was snapping at me. What could we do with that kind of laser focus?